Picture a quiet kitchen at 6:42 a.m., a coffee mug with your initials, two cereal bowls left over from the kids' late-night snack, a note on the counter that looks like closure but reads like an escape hatch. I need to find myself. You're supposed to rage or beg or bargain, but another part of you, the part that has been training to live with total presence, just stands there and breathes. She chose uncertainty and called it freedom. You don't chase, you don't perform. You keep your unshakable frame intact while the house exhales and goes still. Meanwhile, her story begins. Phase 1. I call it the honeymoon with herself. It's a high that feels like oxygen to someone who's been underwater too long. She wakes up to sunlight and congratulates herself for being brave. She posts a quote, "New beginnings." Her friends flood the comments with dopamine pellets. "So proud of you, you glow queen." The room fills with candles and new energy. She rearranges furniture, buys white sheets, takes a yoga class she always mentioned but never scheduled. Downloads the apps, just to look, just to see. Attention arrives like rain in a dry season. Matches, messages, compliments from men who haven't earned the right to know her middle name. She interprets volume as validation. She mistakes attention for intention and novelty for value. It feels like she made the right call. Her mind starts building a narrative strong enough to hold the weight of what she just detonated. I finally chose joy. The universe is rewarding me. And you? You're learning the quiet art of staying. Staying in your body when the mind wants to sprint backward into the past or forward into regret. You lift, you eat real food, you handle paperwork. You don't monologue to mutual friends. You speak in complete sentences to your kids. At night, you write down one thing that got better the moment she walked out. Not as revenge, but as inventory. Less conflict, more order. An empty closet I'll fill with the man I'm becoming. On her side of town, the high continues. She buys a new dress, the sort that signals renaissance. She texts an old friend. I didn't know freedom could feel like this. They clink glasses to fresh starts. It's intoxicating, but it's also borrowed time because highs that depend on outside reactions always crash. Phase 2 arrives quietly. The first date that isn't a joke. He looks good on paper, the right watch, a clean laugh, prepared talking points. My ex was crazy. He asks clever questions. He knows where to sit and what to order. At the end of the night, he leans in, calibrated and confident. It's all correct.
But something lands wrong. Not cataclysmic, just cold. He doesn't know she double-checks the locks 3 times before bed. He doesn't know thunderstorms frighten her in a way she hides with jokes. He doesn't know the brand of tea she drinks when she's anxious. He doesn't know her, only the performance. And for the first time since the split, a hairline fracture appears in the glass. Friday night is not the same thing as being known. She pushes through. Admitting doubt this early would threaten the identity she just built. I'm the woman who was brave enough to leave. So she accelerates. More dates, more apps, more stories for the group chat. But the compliments feel thinner now. The messages feel mass-produced. She starts noticing men who talk over waiters, men who hint at intimacy before trust, men who seem emotionally available then vanish for a weekend without explanation. Her subconscious starts pattern matching, the brain's favorite survival skill. It compares strangers to the baseline they don't know exists, you. Not the version she resented, but the version time is sanding down and polishing in memory. The man who never forgot the spare key under the grill. The man who took the kids to urgent care at 2 a.m. because she froze. The man who wasn't new, but was there. This is where your path and hers diverge in ways the internet never tests for. You aren't perfect, far from it, but you commit to the only program that always works. Build the man. Not for her, not as revenge, because a future deserves a builder. Training, money clarity, masculine friends who call out your blind spots, a home with less echo and more ritual. You are not chasing comfort. You are building capacity. The story looks different already. You're not the villain. You're not the victim. You're the man who refuses to abandon himself in the middle of a storm. That refusal is what keeps the compass steady when Act 2 begins.
The high collapses around month 6, give or take. I call this the panic. Not a panicked sprint, a panicked drift. She hasn't slept well in weeks. The kids are acting out. Not loud, but sideways. Her friends have begun doing what friends do when their lives are full. They forget. The group chat cycles without her. The married couple invites slow down. Singles nights feel less like sisterhood and more like quiet competition for the same small circle of high-value men. She keeps posting. The captions get brighter. The smiles get heavier. There's a tone your ear learns to hear after enough truth work. Performative joy. It's a laugh with a seam down the middle. Meanwhile, the economics of the marketplace show up with the subtlety of a ledger. Dating apps throttle visibility after the first dopamine wave. The matches slow. The messages degrade in quality. The age filters of the men she desires do what age filters do. The attention remains, but intention does not increase with it. She begins to recognize the categories. The adventure guy allergic to responsibility. The charming man married to somebody else. The professional with a schedule that always outranks intimacy. The good guy with options, none of which require him to adopt someone else's past. That's the external squeeze. The internal one is worse. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. 2 incompatible beliefs. I made the right choice and I'm miserable compete for the same nervous system. The brain fights to hold both. Sleep stutters. Food has no taste. Sunday night becomes the worst hour of the week. Noise gone, distractions offline, mirror honest. I call it the Sunday night syndrome, the moment the performance ends and the room tells the truth. And then there's skin hunger, the deficit of 1,000 small touches that come with shared life. A hand on the lower back, feet brushing under the covers, the wordless hug after a hard day. Touch isn't a luxury for humans, it's a vitamin. Weeks without it turn the body into an alarm system. Cortisol rises, immunity drops, insomnia prowls. She can't admit she misses touch because that would mean admitting she misses you, so she calls it restlessness and orders another weighted blanket. Her social architecture contracts. Married friends become cautious, no press release, just distance. Single friends become rivals, politely. Babysitters quit. Childcare costs multiply. Groceries stare back with new price tags now that the home runs on one adult instead of 2. Independence was the dream. Decorated poverty becomes the reality. A life that looks curated, but costs everything to maintain. Some women enter what I call the renovation phase. New hair, new body, new style, sometimes a new personality. It's authentic effort wrapped around a misunderstanding that externals can fix internals. Renovation can be beautiful, but not when it hides from the real renovation, the one that happens inside when a person stops outsourcing identity to performance. Other women launch into rebound construction, speed building a relationship so they can stop hearing the silence. They introduce new men to the kids too fast. They force commitment before trust. They crush red flags into confetti and call it optimism. Those relationships detonate on schedule, leaving more debris than they started with.
This is where your path matters most. You'll be tempted to gloat. Don't. You'll be tempted to rescue. Don't. You'll be tempted to interpret her late-night texts as confession, apology, or destiny. They're usually something different. The nervous system reaching for an anchor it threw away. Your job is not to be a buoy. Your job is to be bedrock. Bedrock doesn't lunge at waves. It absorbs them and remains. So you keep building. You practice zero desperation. You earn silent charisma, the presence that doesn't demand attention because it owns attention. You become dangerously consistent with sleep, training, money, reading, work. You don't monologue online. You don't take shots at her. You don't train your kids to hate their mother. You do the opposite. Teach them that strength and kindness can live in the same father.
Month 9 introduces her to a new antagonist, the ledger. Dual income is gone. The mortgage doesn't care about empowerment. Vacations ask for a second signature that isn't there anymore. The future, college, retirement, safety net, shrinks to fit the new math. Independence without resources is not freedom. It's useless sovereignty, a crown with no kingdom. Around the 1-year mark comes the reckoning. The defense systems go offline. The mirror stops collaborating with the performance. Loneliness changes shape from "wish I had someone here" to "I dismantled my entire identity for a fantasy that doesn't exist." That sentence is too heavy to carry in daylight, so it stalks her at 12:37 a.m. when she unlocks her phone and texts you, "Hey, remember the cabin? I drove past it today." Or, "I saw your mom. She looked good." Or the more honest ones, "Are you awake? I can't sleep." They all translate to the same message. I'm treading water in an ocean I chose, and you were the last island I remember. You don't lash out. You don't lean in. You are kind, brief, and steady. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're filters that keep love from becoming enabling. You stay in total presence, here, now, complete, because something else is about to happen that neither of you prepared for. She sees you happy. It might be a photo your friend tags you in. It might be your daughter's birthday party where your smile isn't forced. It might be the way your son repeats your joke in your cadence and she recognizes the home she used to live in, now alive without her. This sight is not revenge. It's a mirror that refuses to lie. The problem wasn't happiness. The problem was her relationship with happiness. And if you're with someone new, careful, deliberate, and kind, that fact rewrites the ending she told herself. You were always capable. She couldn't see it through the fog of her discontent. Or worse, she saw it but thought there was something shinier on the other side of the fence. The fence wasn't the prison. The fence was the guardrail. Which ushers us into Act 3.
There's a sentence that arrives for her around year 2. It doesn't enter with drama. It arrives like a tired truth sitting on the edge of the bed. I didn't leave because he wasn't enough. I left because I thought I deserved more. Deserve is a dangerous word when it collides with reality. The market doesn't care what any of us think we deserve. The world is deaf to entitlement. It speaks only value and reciprocity. Here's the paradox you must understand if you want to live as a sovereign man. Her regret is not your victory. If you treat it like a scoreboard, you'll poison the very growth that earned your peace. Regret is her teacher. Your task is different. Continue without malice. Because there's something larger at stake here than romance. Your operating system. Divorce, heartbreak, abandonment, they can calcify a man or clarify him. Calcified men become bitter historians, reciting evidence of injustice until they are unbearable to be around. Clarified men become leaders, the kind who can hold their center in chaos without turning cold. So you choose your curriculum, mission over mood. Your day is built around outputs that matter, not inputs that feel good. Boundaries without drama. You say no without a speech. You say yes without a contract of gratitude. Brothers over breadcrumbs. You cultivate male friendships where iron sharpens iron and excuses die on contact. Ritual over randomness. Training is on the calendar, not on the mood ring. Truth over theater. You don't stage your healing for likes. You let your health be the proof. As you live this way, something strange happens to your energy. Women, healthy ones, notice the way you occupy a room. It's not loud, it's grounded. Presence is not the absence of anxiety, it's the mastery of it. The signal you send without saying a word is simple. I'm already home inside myself. Join me, don't fix me. That signal rewires your relationships because it rewires selection. Dramatic women peel off. Centered women step forward. Chaos gets bored. Calm gets curious. Meanwhile, her life forks into two paths. Path A, doubling down. She can't admit the mistake because that would collapse the identity scaffolding she built around bravery. She becomes cynical, joins communities that validate her narrative, and evangelizes the choice to leave to anyone who will listen. Misery becomes a group project. It feels like belonging. It functions like quicksand. Path B, courageous honesty. Rarer, but real. She faces the mirror without makeup. No filters, no hashtags. She admits she miscalculated. Maybe she apologizes. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she asks for reconciliation. Maybe she doesn't. But she stops lying to herself. That honesty costs her a persona and buys her a future. Most won't choose it. A few will. Wish them well. Your job remains the same. Be a man worth being around, not a man who needs to be right. Now, let's address you directly, because this channel isn't therapy, it's training. The Presence Protocol, Post-Divorce Edition. 1. Stabilize the field. Sleep becomes non-negotiable. Alcohol becomes rare. Food becomes fuel. Movement becomes medicine. You don't try to feel better. You become better and let feelings adjust to reality. 2. Rebuild the container. Your home stops being a museum of what was. It becomes a workshop for what will be. Make your bed. Replace broken things. Fix the doorknob that always stuck. Peace is built at the level of hinges and habits. 3. Fortify the tribe. Invite 2 men to train with you, read with you, and call you out. You are not a lone wolf. You are a domesticated lion that needs a pride. 4. Multiply competence. Master 1 financial system. Acquire 1 hard skill. Teach your kids something practical every week. The masculine heart wants to provide, protect, and produce. Let it. 5. Practice total presence with your children, with friends, with whoever sits across from you at dinner. Phone down, eyes up. Leave people more centered than you found them. 6. Refuse bitterness. Bitterness feels like armor. It's actually a cage that shrinks your world to the size of your wound. Drop it. It's heavy and it doesn't look good on you. 7. Choose deliberately. If you date, do it as a man who is full, not a man looking for a pharmacist. Choose women who live in reality, not theater. Choose peace over fireworks. Choose reciprocity over rescue. Live this protocol for a year and your reflection changes without announcement. Your posture speaks first. Your calendar proves more than your captions. Your children relax in rooms with you. Your friends start asking for your system. Your next relationship, if and when it arrives, doesn't arrive to numb pain. It arrives to share momentum. And if she reaches out with regret, receive it with gentleness and distance. Compassion isn't a contract. You can wish someone healing without offering your life as the medicine. There's one more truth no one tells men because it sounds like bragging when it's actually physics. When you become a man at peace with himself, you become a gravitational field. People organize around you. Chaos bends when it meets you. That is not charisma. That is the inevitable byproduct of a life aligned. So here's where we land. She asked for freedom and found out that freedom without structure is fall. She asked for excitement and discovered chaos is not adventure. She asked to be desired and learned the hard way that desire without devotion is disposable. You asked for growth and got it the way growth usually arrives: expensive, unwanted, and non-refundable. You asked for peace and learned that peace isn't given, it's practiced. If you're the man in an empty apartment tonight, don't scroll yourself into memory addiction. Stand up, put on your shoes, tidy the room, make a list for the morning, text your brother to train at 6 a.m. Delete the messages you'll regret sending. Sit for 5 minutes and breathe like a man who has a whole life to build. Because you do. Because here is the secret ending nobody posts.
When you master zero desperation, when you carry silent charisma, when you live in total presence and honor your unshakable frame, you stop asking, will she come back? And start asking, will I continue forward regardless? The first question chains you to the past. The second one opens your future. And if you needed permission to move on, write it down in your own handwriting. I release the man I was to become the man I am becoming. That's the work. That's the way. That's presence. Drop this in the comments. No bitterness, more building. Tell me one daily ritual you're installing this week. Sleep, training, money, fatherhood, brotherhood. I'll pin the best and build a follow-up video, the Presence Post-Divorce Protocol. Templates, checklists, and the exact weekly cadence I recommend. Choose clarity, choose sovereignty, choose presence.